Welcome to the 25th episode of the It's Been Said podcast. I'm your host, SAI Executive Director Lisa Remy. Each show is dedicated to conversations on leadership as we further SAI's mission to support, encourage, and develop Iowa's education leaders and learners. I'm excited to welcome Rick Shupbach, the founder of Catch Life 30. Welcome, Rick.
Well, thank you, Lisa. I'm really excited to be here with you today.
Yeah, I'm excited to highlight our Catch Life 30 that we provide to our members as a value add to their membership. So let's get started with some questions. Can you provide for us, Rick, an overview of the Catch Life 30 program and its mission, and really within that context of school administrator wellness?
Certainly. I would start off with saying this. We have a really valuable resource, some great assets, and some very talented individuals, that being our administrators. And really the Catch Life 30 programming was designed as a 30-day health challenge, focusing on sleep, hydration, nutrition, exercise, and social and emotional health to help school administrators find their proper leadership life fit. So if you think about it, we're as educators, and I'm a former educator, always giving of ourselves, but we have to understand that it's important to invest in ourselves so that we can better invest in others. And we're not just talking for today, but we're talking about long term, because we know how demanding the administrative roles are in our schools. And so we want people to be able to stay in that role for a long time, because we know how valuable those individuals are. They're obviously at the top of our profession, hence why they're moving into the administrative role. And what we just simply want to do is help them do their jobs better and not forget about themselves as they continue to serve others.
Yeah, I appreciate you highlighting that, Rick, because we talk a lot when almost anytime we're in front of a group of our members, our administrators, about how important it is to take care of themselves so that they can take care of all of the people that they serve. And so I really appreciate you highlighting that. Share with our listeners about any other businesses or organizations that you may work with around wellness, or is your main focus really educator wellness?
Well, being an Iowa educator for 33 years myself in the area of physical education, I've always had a passion and a great purpose in helping young people live better. And I think as I've morphed into the role in 2015, when Rourke hired me, I had a unique opportunity to now work with school administrators in that same capacity, helping them to live better. So my passion really lies with schools or educators, specifically Iowa. It's where I've lived my entire life, so I have a passion for that. However, I have had the opportunity to branch that out and work with schools in a number of states, all the way from Hawaii, actually, to New York, Texas, and Colorado, and a number of other states. But again, focus mostly in and around the Iowa area. And as my business has grown, I've also been able to reach out, work with individual challenges, but also with different businesses as well.
So, Rick, talk a little bit about not necessarily maybe the number of school districts, but do you have school districts that really join the Catch Life program as a district, or is it mostly individual member focused?
Well, again, SAI has been really my main focus. And what happened was, as I was designing program for school administrators of Iowa members, many of them would come back and ask me, hey, I would like to provide this for my staff. And in doing that, what happened was that I was no longer just working as a consultant for SAI, but they wanted me to serve non-members. So as a result, I started my own company called Catch Life 30 so that I could serve other educators. And that was really an exciting thing. So I've had many school administrators in Iowa say, hey, I'd like to do this 30-day health challenge with my uh, my teachers and my staff. And that's basically how I've branched off from just working with individual SAI members to actually working with districts school-wide in the state of Iowa and others around the nation.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting I remember when I was sitting in that superintendent role thinking I needed to model that. If I felt like I was modeling health and wellness, that would help then our rest of our administrators or other staff see the importance of taking care of themselves as well. So appreciate you being able to adapt as, requests came to you from Iowa administrators and even administrators across the United States. For sure. So what inspired you to create the Catch Life 30 program?
Well, I read a book when I retired called The New Retire Mentality, and it's about being able to work with the people you want to work with when you want to work with them, and using the skills and the talents that you had in your main career moving forward. So when Rourke approached me, I was like, wow, this is what gives me purpose in life. I mean, I always felt I had the most important job in the world. And when I say that, I truly mean that. I felt I had the most important job. I was helping young people learn how to care for themselves, the one body that they had, the one mind that they had. Were they going to build relationships in life, et cetera? So I was so passionate. I loved what I did. I felt I worked very hard, but I don't think I ever worked a day in my life just because it was a labor of passion and of love. And so when Rourke asked me to do this, it was like I still was going to have great purpose in my retirement, but I was going to have more flexibility, obviously. But I was going to get to work with people that I admired, I respected, I appreciated. I knew what their purpose was in life to make a difference in others' lives. And so it was going to allow me to do that, but also be in the arena, the area that I wanted to. And so it really energized me. And when I say that, I, I love, for example, I love golf, but golf isn't what I want to live for. It's a passion of mine, but it's not what I'm going to live for. I want to have great purpose. And so I want to continue to affect people in a positive way. And so I also want to have energy as I move forward. And so Catch Life 30, as I designed it, it was really around the word energy. And I wanted people to have energy for work. So here are these administrators and they go to work. Do they have enough energy for their work? Yeah, they do. But how about when they come home? Do they have enough energy for their family? Or does that get forgotten because they invest so much of their energy into their work? Yes, they can do that. Oh, great. You have energy for work, you have energy for family. But now, do you have energy for your own life? In other words, to pursue the passions that you have in life that really gives you fulfillment? Or do you forget yourself in the process? And so this helped me to have energy because I wasn't going to forget myself. I was going to still have purpose. But again, the idea behind Catch Life 30 is to have enough energy for work, family, and life. And I could help others be the best version of themselves going forward. And that was going to provide me great purpose. And so I've considered it a great blessing to be able to continue here 9 years later, still be working with other people, helping them to live better.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned some of the components. Why don't you share for our listeners what those core components of the Catch Life 30 program are, and then how do they really contribute to that overall wellness for school administrators?
Sure. We really focus in on improving keystone habits. And there's 5 keystone habits that we focus on. Number 1 is sleep. And we may laugh at that one and say, well, I can't sleep very much because I have so much to do. And I understand that. But even if we just improve a little bit or we figure out how to best utilize the amount of time that we have to improve the amount of sleep, great. Hydration, again, something that's often overlooked, but a simple thing that we can do that is going to afford us more energy. So that sleep component is going to re-energize us. The hydration component is really going to energize us in a very simplistic way that we often forget. And then nutrition. And when we say nutrition, we're very basic. We're not going to have you um, tabulating everything that you eat, but it's really around fruits, vegetables, and dessert, and just keeping track of trying to have 2 fruits, 3 vegetables, and 1 or less dessert a day. And then physical activity. We know that movement is a key to healthy living. There is no substitute for that. And then social and emotional health, which really focuses in on the leadership component. And in that social and emotional health area, we really talk about building relationships, managing stress, and having a growth mindset. And if we can focus in on those keystone habits, then we're going to be able to have more energy for work, family, and life. And so that's really what we are focused on. Now the question becomes, and this is why I thought Rourke was, really smart after all in choosing somebody that was an educator, because I don't know what a corporate wellness person would do, but I understand educators. The last thing they need is more on their plate. And so here's the question I pose to everyone. Do you have a few minutes in the morning to watch a video around those 5 components that I just mentioned, those keystone habits? Because each day there'll be a 2-minute video to start your day. And all you have to do is listen to it and then just click how many hours you slept. And then do you have a few minutes at the end of the day to reflect on these 5 keystone habits with some basic questions that will be given to you each day that, again, you just click your responses. So do you have a few minutes in the morning and a few minutes in the evening to invest in your own health? Because if you do, then the Catch Life 30 Challenge is designed for you. The last thing I was going to do is make it be something that was going to put more onto the plates of our administrators because they don't need more. So I tried to make it as simple as possible. But we all know how important reflection is, Lisa. Mm-hmm. We know in education, we talk about, ask kids to reflect all the time. Well, what would be more important than for us to reflect each evening on our own health? And so the Catch Life 30 program really has, and here's your educational word, SMART goals. I mean, we have very specific goals each day that we're going to target in these areas, and they're measurable, and they're achievable, and they're realistic, and they're also time bound. And so every day I wake up and I have these goals in mind. Now, whether I achieve them or not isn't the bottom line. The idea is that every day I wake up and I'm actually proactive in attacking my day. I'm not just going to let the day happen to me. I have a plan in place, and then I can adjust that, and I can record it, and I can reflect at the end of the day. And if I didn't do so well, it's okay. This isn't about guilt and shame. But the next day I'm going to wake up and I still have those goals in mind, whether I achieve them or not. And the great thing about our challenge, Lisa, is that we have personal progress reports every day that only the individuals can see, so they can track, how am I doing? Because we know that summative assessment's okay, but formative assessment's better. So as they go through the challenge after 7 days, they can be looking at their progress report and say, I haven't met one of my social and emotional health goals yet. I'm 0 for 7. All the other ones I'm doing well. So now I can adjust and make changes as I need to go instead of waiting till the end to find out how I did. So I'm really excited about trying to provide opportunities for people to really focus in on these keystone habit areas without sacrificing a lot of time in their day.
Yeah, very thoughtful in how you created the program for sure. So how does the Catch Life 30 challenge help elevate what an individual may already be personally doing for wellness? And how can the program be a non-intimidating launch for individuals who maybe have struggled with their own personal wellness and for them to get started?
Yeah, that's a great question. That was really a difficult task because you have people all over the spectrum or all over the continuum, I guess the wellness continuum, better way of putting it. You have those individuals that really value their health, they take care of themselves, et cetera. When we first started the program, we were just focusing on the physical activity component because we had watches and we could track them via that system. And I kept telling, Rourke, we need to branch this out. And I would say for those people that are really fit and really take care of themselves, maybe they're forgetting one of these other areas. In fact, what's interesting is that and we do have data, which I will talk about later, I think, but we do have data. And one of the data points that was really an eye-opener for us is that the area that most administrators see the most growth in is the social emotional health, 45% increase in the 30 days. And I can talk more about that later. But so even those people that may be fit, work out, and are they well-rounded in all those aspects? I will say this: I used to run with a group called the Faith Runners, and we ran every morning, 3 days a week, 4 days, including Saturday at 4:30 in the morning. And I remember getting up and we trained for half marathons, et cetera. And then I'd go to school and I'd teach, and I was, teaching 11 classes a day and kids one after the other with very little time. And I never valued hydration, but I was fit. But was I really hydrating well? Oh, by the way, I was coaching, and I was coaching well into the night on many winters and springs. How was my sleep? So even though I was taking care of myself and valuing, was I well-rounded in all aspects? And so I think that no matter how active or how somebody's taking care of themselves, it's a great way to check how they're doing it in all these keystone habits. And for the person that's just getting started, this is entry level. This is like the launching pad. And the idea is, let's be aware, because when we are aware, we can create small changes that will compound over time to make the desired result we want. And so I think it can encompass and anybody can find value regardless of their fitness level. And that's how it's designed. I mean, I follow this on a regular basis with my wife. It's changed the way we do our living, honestly. And we're on different spectrums of wellness, but both of us find great value in trying to achieve these goals each and every day.
Yeah, I appreciate, we always talk about what's the next littlest thing you can do. And, just taking that next step. It doesn't have to, oftentimes the barrier is we're thinking it has to be this big step. So the next littlest thing we can do to improve our wellness is going to be beneficial.
I think that's really important, because I think what stops a lot of people from taking part in something like this is, well, I'm not going to do well, or I can't sleep 7 hours, or I can't, I can't get 30 minutes of activity in. The idea is, we know these parameters are good for us. Let's have them in front of us every day, and let's strive for them, and understand that if we don't make it, again, it's not about shame, it's not about guilt, it's about awareness. And then, can I make some small changes? Hey, I can't sleep 7 hours, but I'm only sleeping 5 hours. Hey, how about if I can make it to 5 hours, 15 minutes? Will that have an accumulative effect over time? Absolutely. So I'm aware, and I've make some changes that just will benefit me. And I think that's the key. And the other thing is, research says that if we are in with like-minded individuals on a journey like this, that will actually get more benefit out of it. So why do we want to try to do all this on our own, where we can actually be in collaboration with other people that understand what we're going through, what our lives are like, because they're administrators, and we get to be in a challenge with them. And there's a community forum where they can go in and they can support each other. And I post something every day as well. And I can maybe be inspired or encouraged by others, or get ideas from other people. And so again, that collaboration, sometimes, especially in small town Iowa, administration can be a very lonely job because there's only a few people in the community that understand what they're going through and how they're living. So it's nice to be part of a larger group of individuals that are living the same type of life that we are.
Yeah. So how would somebody, let's say they're listening to our podcast and they decide, hey, I want to get involved. So how would either a school system or individual administrators typically get involved with Catch Life 30?
Well, SAI members can go onto the SAI website and Catch Life and sign up for the October challenge that's coming up. I have a Catch Life 30 website that they can go to. It's Catch Life, the number 30, .com, that they can go and read more information on. And they can get a hold of me at Catch Life 30, again, the number 30, catchlife30 at gmail.com. And learn about it. In fact, I'm working with a school in Iowa right now where I have a meeting next week with them, a Zoom, where we'll do a Zoom with the principals and the administrators, and they're either looking to do a challenge just of their group, but probably more importantly, they want to do it with their faculty. So I'm going to encourage them, go to the SAI, get in the October challenge, and see how you like it, and then if you want to take it to your staff, we can do one in January with them when they come back. And so I think that's they can obviously reach out to you guys, and you can direct them as well at SAI. But those are the ways in which they can look to get in contact with me and get the ball rolling. And I love to Zoom in with administrative teams and share all about the program, and then we can take it from there.
Great. Thank you. And thanks for being willing to even connect individually with districts, Rick. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, I love to do that. And I've actually gone to different districts, sat in on their administrative meetings. I've watched where they write notes to one another or write notes to staff members, again, building those relationships, getting ideas on writing a handwritten note, and that's how they start their administrative meetings, sharing with them, listening to them. I tell you what, it's like I say, it's filled me up so much and gave me great purpose, just meeting so many fantastic educators and getting to develop that relationship with them like I did my students. And I've got some dear friends that, as a result of being able to serve them in this capacity.
Yeah, very good. So do you have, or would you be willing to share any success stories or examples of how Catch Life 30 has positively impacted school administrators and their well-being?
Well, if you want individual, we can go right to the top. If you want data, I can give you data. Which one do you want first?
Either way works for us. So.
Well, I know I have permission from Rourke Horn to share his own story. One of the things I told Rourke is if he's going to hire me on to create this program, that he had to be a part of any of the programming that I created. And so he was, and he took it to heart. And he'll be the first to tell you, for those of you that know Rourke, that it really changed his life. He can talked about how he takes better care of himself, how he exercises, how his weight is much less than it used to be, how his blood work is better, borderline diabetic, etc. So his doctor marvels at where he's at now compared to where he was. So that's a personal story, and there are others as well, but I haven't had permission to share those. But overall, I do want to say this, that we do a pre-survey and a post-survey of our participants. We use the WHO, World Health Organization, 5-question well-being index at the beginning. And it's a well-researched document. We ask 5 questions. These questions are not seen by anybody else, but by the participant, but we do tabulate the overall results. And in that, and then we give that at the end of the 30 days as well. And we have seen a 20 0.3% overall well-being score improvement. And to give you some idea about that, their raw score is coming in at 55. And when Complete Wellness Solutions, which houses our challenges, and I work with them, I said, well, that 55 means nothing to me. And Jason said, well, Rick, that's slightly above depression. So the raw score of these thousands of school administrators who have done this challenge is they come in slightly above depression, and they get a 20% improvement. Now that's exciting. In fact, Jason has told me out of all the challenges that they have, and they have their own on their Complete Wellness Solution programming, they said they've never seen anything like it. So that's exciting. The second thing we do is we take the areas of focus, sleep, water, fruit, vegetable, dessert, physical activity, and social and emotional health. And we ask them, the participants ahead of time, how often do you sleep 7 hours? How often do you drink 64 ounces of water? How often do you think you eat 2 fruits, 3 vegetables, 1 dessert, 30 minutes of physical activity? How often do you do these things in social emotional health? And then they answer the questions. And now we take their, so that's their perceived, and then we take their data during the challenge, and we give them a before and after, and we call this our health transformation, and we've seen a 31.9% increase in overall scoring. And each group has gone up, and that's where I got my 45% increase in social and emotional health from, because that's the area that has improved the most. So we have some very concrete data, and we know in education that data drives decisions. It's a 3D world. And so, yes, I can tell you stories of individuals, but I think more importantly, when we look at the overall improvement, and that's one of the things that was so critical to me as I continued to design this program from where we started. It's a joke where we started to where we are now, but I wanted some of that objective data to be able to find out what is the difference that this program is making. And now that we have that hard data on thousands and thousands of educators, it's easy for me to stay excited about trying to get people involved in it, because I know it's making a difference. And that's what gives me great purpose in the life, is trying to make a difference in other people's lives.
Yeah. I'll share my own personal story, and I know you've heard this as we've talked over the last few years, but I've been involved in the challenge a couple different times, and I never even considered my water intake until I participated the first time in the challenge. And that is what made me go, wow, okay, I've had days when I reflected, where I only drank Diet Coke, didn't have any water intake. So it completely changed. Now there's very few days where I don't have 64 ounces or more of water, much less caffeine intake. And yeah, I really don't drink pop at all anymore. I can't remember the last time I had a pop. So that's just one example. The exercise, the balance, like fruits, vegetables, all of that. It's definitely been a positive impact on me personally too. So.
And I think one of the things, Lisa, is so important is, yeah, it's an overall, there's all these different areas. I can't do them all. I watch a video and it's on sleep, and well, I can't, I've got kids at home and I sleep. That's fine. That might not be your area of focus, but what if you just took the one thing you said, hydration, and you learned how to hydrate better? And that's the only thing you took out of the program. But you did it now. I mean, I have been hydrating, like you just said, for the last 10 years of my life. My wife will attest to the fact that I do not miss a day where I don't wake up and drink my water and get the right amount of water in, way above that, actually. But it's a focus area. And so do you think that has a compound effect? Absolutely. And it's only one area. So again, it isn't about perfection. It isn't about, oh, I have to do all of these different things. If you can find one thing here that helps you improve your health or build relationships better. I got into education because of relationships, but I'm caught up in my work so much that I'm forgetting about that personal touch. Oh, I got into education, but now I'm stressed, but I forgot some ways to manage my own stress. And oh, I've got all this tension because all these people coming at me in different. Can I look at that in a different way instead of a victim mentality and look at it as a growth? We always talk to the kids, growth mindset. Okay, I'm going to take it as growth mindset, but I need those daily reminders. Then again, any of those in and of itself, compounding over time, will help us to be healthier, to help us to have more energy, and help us to be better at what we do.
Yeah, completely agree. All right, so we know we've talked about the successes and the data, which I really appreciate you sharing. On the other side, we know that sometimes there are challenges that people encounter, and maybe you've encountered while running Catch Life 30. How have you addressed those challenges? Are there common obstacles schools face when adopting wellness programs from your perspective?
Mm. Well, the obstacles that that I've encountered during this program from the first day I looked at a blank slate, tabula rasa, and said, "What am I doing?" to where we're at now. As I look at that journey, I'm amazed at where we've gotten to, and it's been fun to actually reflect back on that personally. I think with the school districts, the biggest obstacle, number one, is finances. Will people prioritize and be able to find ways to fund the programming? I have had districts where the individuals actually just pay for the program themselves, but normally the school district will pay for it. And I think the other thing is it's not any different than school administrators. It's getting individuals to believe that they need to focus on themselves and that they have time to do it. And that's where I think that if I can speak, that's why I love doing presentations at in-services for schools, et cetera. I mean, whether it's Zoom or otherwise, when I can talk to them and what's the message that these administrators are giving to you? That they care about you as a professional. Sure, they want you to do a great job, but they're sending a message that you are valuable as a person, first and foremost. And I think that's the unique thing that Rourke did when he initiated this program. How many people leading a 1,500 member organization that, oh, they have to achieve these set of standards and all these, reading, math, and science, and all these scores. But he and all that's on administrators. But he said, stop. Yeah, all that's important, but you're the most important asset. And that's the same thing administrators are saying to these teachers. And as a teacher, man, when I was teaching, we had an administrator, John Stevens, who allowed us to work out in we had a YMCA within our school district, actually, at the time. Our fitness facility, when kids left and we were on contract time, he allowed us to work out. Now, he was saying to us, value your health. I value your health. You're going to be better if you do this. That was an amazing thing. And so I think anytime administrators are saying to their staff, I care about you as an individual. I would like you to invest in yourself. Here's something we're going to provide for you to do so. That's powerful. And I love conveying that message. Here's a question I always ask. What are the two things you want most for those you love? And I'll have them write them down, and then I'll have them. I'll say, stand up if one of them was health. You want the people you love to be healthy, and most of them stand up, obviously. And then I say, stay standing. But if you're not standing, if one of them was to be happy, stand up. Virtually all the people, if not all the people, are standing up at that time. And I say to them, well, the people that love you want that same thing for you. They want you to be happy and healthy as well. And we know in school districts right now, we need to retain people in our school districts. And so we need to tell them they're important. And we need to do things for them that shows that they're important. And then we got to give them the tools to take better care of themselves, because we can't have this turnover. It's not good for the educational system to have turnover after turnover after turnover. And you know what? How about the people that are in front of those kids? Is it enough just to have them in front of those kids? Or do we want them to be healthy and happy and to be the best version of themselves so that they can actually invest totally in those kids that are in front of them? So we really can't afford not to do it. But again, it's like our society is so reactive versus proactive. And I believe in proactive, preventive solutions to our healthcare and to everything that we do. So let's get on the front end of it. Let's let those people know they're valued, and then let's give them some tools and some ability to do it. And let's have some fun, because there's a team component to this that you can do. You can have fun contests with that. There's leaderboards. There's a lot of different things that we can do with it to make it fun and engaging. But the key is we have to let people know it's okay to take time to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So earlier you mentioned the metrics and the data that you collect. Maybe that's the data that you use to measure the effectiveness of the Catch Life 30 program. Is there any other data, any other ways you measure the effectiveness that you'd like to share with our listeners?
No, sounds like I jumped a gun on that one a little bit.
No.
That's really the data. I mean, I do want you to know that there's personal progress reports that come at the end when somebody finishes it. So this is a group report. This is group data. Your school district or SAI, when they do it, they get a group report and it says, here's the data from the people that participated. But the individuals that were in that program, they also get that same report. Only they get to see it. Nobody else is going to see theirs. But they'll know if their overall wellness went up, and they'll know if their health transformation scores went up. And so that is important. It's the individual and group results that they will get. And I do think that's really important. We do have a Catch Life 2.0 program that they can morph into after as well. And we do have year-round Catch Life Plus programming too, that's provided through Complete Wellness Solutions, who I'm in partner with.
Yeah, so that kind of leads me into my next question, actually. So when there's one of our members who has participated in Catch Life 30 program and would like to participate again, what's out there, what's available for them to keep it from being, kind of repetitive or the same program year after year?
Yeah, and so when I was a consultant and I was continuing to create, and now as I'm not into marketing, I'm not into selling. I'm into being a grandfather, and I'm into a lot. I'm into my swimming and my golfing, and I'm not pursuing this as a full-time occupation. And since I'm not working as a consultant full-time for SAI anymore, I really haven't created much more programs. So we do have a Catch 1.0 and a 2.0. I will simply say that I just follow them continuously on my own. I've done it, like I said, for the last 9 years. But we do have programming through Complete Wellness Solutions, the company that I work with, that actually it's called Catch Life Plus, and they have it involves all types of different challenges that you can be a part of, and it also includes mental health videos, financial aid. I mean, it's all encompassing. It's really a very robust program. So if somebody wanted to get involved in that, we can certainly direct them to that program called Catch Life Plus.
Great. Thank you so much, Rick. So Rick, how has working on Catch Life, or actually creating the Catch Life 30, influenced your own perspective on wellness and work-life balance? And could you share any personal growth or change through this journey for you personally?
So I'd like to say that I was a physical education teacher. I'm gonna tell you a little personal story. I was a physical education teacher. I told you earlier, I felt that I taught the most important subject in school. My wife was a second grade teacher. I trust that she felt she taught the most important subject in school. But in 1997, I was diagnosed with cancer, and I had a tumor the size of a fist inside my chest. And I was a week and a half from running in my second half marathon. I was in the best shape of my life. And when I went to the Mayo Clinic, the doctor said to me, "Rick, I see you're training for this half marathon." He says, "I don't think you're training for that. I think you're training for your own type of marathon because the treatment we give you can work. However, it's very intense. You have a moving aggressive tumor, and we have to hit it with 120 hours of chemo, 3 weeks off, 120 hours of chemo, 3 weeks off, 120 hours of chemo, 3 weeks off, and 120 hours of chemo. At that time, we'll take the tumor out." Most people, it usually works on the tumor, but most people cannot withstand the treatment, and they can't get their blood counts back up to continue the treatment. And if we can't continue the treatment, what happens is that cancer takes hold and there's nothing we can do. So to say that I was floored was an understatement. However, I believe that living my profession helped to save my life, because obviously I'm here today. And I don't say that lightly, but I do say this. I've always taken care of my health, but now since I've retired, quote unquote, or started into the wellness consulting part-time, I'm looking at a more well-rounded way of approaching things. And I am, for the first time in my life, not just so focused on the fitness component, but I'm looking more about how I fuel my body with hydration and eating, and how I re-energize my body with sleep. See, I grew up in a family, like probably a lot of listeners would have. My dad was the youngest of 12 children. His dad died when he was 6 weeks old. He grew up in the Depression. He only had an 8th grade education. And if you slept in our house, you were considered lazy. So sleep wasn't something that I was very good at. So I've become much more aware and of making those well-rounded changes in all aspects. And I think that's something that I've been able to recognize in myself, and that's helped me, I think, to live better today than I ever have, definitely. But I think the key is that everyone has that opportunity, just to, again, be more aware and make the changes that they need to.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that very personal story, Rick. So, what advice would you give school administrators who are thinking about participating in the Catch Life 30 program, or, really trying to focus on their own health and well-being?
First of all, there's nothing like getting in the game. We talk about spectating in life. It's no time to spectate. Let's participate. I think it's a gift from SAI. Honestly, it's a value add-on. It's something that if you looked around at different administrative agencies around the nation, very few, if any, other than the National Superintendents Association, at one time that they did it, would provide for you. And so I think that's number one, is get involved, get in the game, as they like to say. So I would love to work with you. I'd love to talk with you personally. I'd love to have you just sign up for that October challenge, and reach out to me at any time. I love to dialogue with people, help them out in any way. Again, I'm not doing it as a consultant and getting paid for that. I would just love to assist anyone if they're a part of the SAI program. And obviously, they can reach out, like I said before, and if you have that information, you can send in the podcast. That'd be great. But where they could sign up or ask me to come in and Zoom to their staff if they're interested in doing a staff program, or talk to their leadership team or their administrative team. because I love to do that as well. So I'd be happy to address their health and well-being in any of those avenues if they so desired.
Right. Well, thank you, Rick. Thanks for answering the call when Rourke called you 9 years ago, and for creating this program. And again, for supporting Iowa administrators in the area of well-being. Really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate everything that school administrators have done. I've had some great administrators through my educational career, most notably John Stevens, as I mentioned before. He affected me in incredible ways professionally, but more so personally. And I'm indebted to him for all the opportunities that he afforded me as a physical educator, and how he made me feel valued and that he wanted to educate the whole child. And this is a way I can give back to all those administrators and still continue to live with great purpose. So I look forward to having some reach out to me and getting in contact with me so I can help them, and also their staff if they want to do something with their employees.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the It's Been Said podcast with founder Rick Shupbach. If you are interested in learning more or participating in the Catch Life 30 Challenge, visit the SAI website at sai-iowa.org/events. Remember, it's important to take care of yourself so that you can continue to take care of others.